At 9:50, I have to send the message that join the lab. Then it shows how much you are serious about your studies. It's not good. Anyways, what we did last time? Sakshi, what is the time of lab? Sakshi, what is the lab time?
Yes, ma'am.
What is lab time?
Ma'am, 9:40.
What is the time right now?
Ma'am, 9:52. Sorry to join late,
You're
ma'am.
saying you're just joining for the sake of joining, then don't join the meeting.
No, ma'am,
How is
but I
that?
was
Every day I
also.
have to. No, everybody is having one or another reason. If every day all are late by 12 minutes, what is the fault of the students who are joining on time? Devang and Udayraj and other 2-3 students are always on time. What is their fault? Can you justify those who have joined late? This is not for only you. There are so many students. What is their fault? Anyways, next time onwards, I'll not be waiting for you people. If you don't want to learn, then it's okay. That's your choice. You are not a kid. Okay? Okay, what we did last time, everyone. What was the discussion last time? We started so late, right? Are we done with the
Yes.
request dispatcher, include and forward method?
Yes, ma'am.
Are we done with servlet context and config interface?
Yes. And filter as well.
Filter also done. Okay, so now we have to move to fourth practical, right? Yes or no? Filter as well done. So today we'll do one thing. We'll go with the practical 4 and 5. Okay. So we'll implement the project, but before that, let us discuss what is the problem statement and how we can go with it. So look at the problem definition. What it says: create a login form, and perform state management using cookies, HTTP session, and URL rewriting. So first we will be focusing on the part of the project, which is this, right? To implement the login form using the cookies. Okay, right? So what is cookie? What is cookie? Can anyone answer me? What is cookie? Anyone? What is cookie? We learn in the theory, right? What is cookie? Cookie is a small piece of information which is stored in the client machine. And to implement it, yeah, Devang is saying one type of variable which is used to store the user's data. And we do so because HTTP is stateless, and that's why each request is being treated as a new request. And to avoid it and to identify the user request not as a new request, we are using the session tracking. Okay, so this was the purpose why we do so. Session tracking is to recognize the user. Because HTTP says stateless. That's why, as a programmer, we need to maintain the state. State in the sense data of the user in order to recognize the user, in order to recognize a particular user. Fine. Is the need clear? What is session management and why we need it? We call it as a session management or session tracking. There are basically four techniques: cookies, hidden form field, URL rewriting, and HTTP session. Our problem statement says perform the login form and state management using cookie, HTTP session, and URL rewriting. So let us do it. First, we'll start with the cookies. Cookie, as I said, it's a small piece of information when user sends first request. Client will give first response plus cookie, right? So second time when user is requesting to the same website, the second request onwards, each request of user will go with the cookies. So server can read that cookie and server can recognize whether user is old or new, whether the request is old or new. Fine. So cookies are stored in the cache of browser, client's browser. We are saving the cookies. So yeah, there's cookie class. So if we want to use cookie, we need to import java x.http.cookie where C is capital. We can construct a cookie using constructor cookie. Cookie name and cookie value. So it will create a cookie with specific name and value. So these are the few methods. Set max age, which decides the longer how longer cookie will be available. Get name to access the name of the cookie. Get value to access the value of a cookie. Set name to set the or change the name of a cookie, and set value to change the value of existing value of a cookie. So we can create a cookie by creating an object. Cookie ck is equal to new cookie. We can give a cookie variable name and a variable value in a string, and in response we'll add the cookie. So we say response.add cookie. To delete the cookie, we have to set the same variable with null. We can write ck.setMaxAge0, which will make the validity of the cookie for 0 seconds. It means that it is no longer available. And you can add this cookie with the null value and 0 lifetime to the client machine by writing response.addCookieCK, same object you are adding. At the server side, when the user is requesting for the second time, if you want to read those cookies, you can go with the subCookieCK square bracket, which is an array of cookies, request.getCookies. It will get all the cookies name and value. All the cookies coming from the client side to the server, it will read all the names and values, which will help the server to identify the user and to know that this is not the first request. You can access those cookies which you have get using the request.getCookies method by taking for loop I is equal to 0, I less than ck.length. We are doing I plus plus, and then in a new line we are writing ck of I dot get name. We are giving a space ck.I dot get value. Fine, fine. So let us go with the login application. What do you think? What are the things required? What are the things required? What we will need is an index.html, right? In an index.html, we will take username and password, okay, right? As it is a login page, we will take username and password and a login button. Now, through the forms submit, this will go to the login check servlet, where we are going to check whether user is valid or not, right? So what you will do is in login check servlet, you will check the user's validity. If username is your name and password is your surname, then you are saying it is valid user. And if user is valid, we will create cookie. If user is valid, then we will create cookies. Okay. Okay. Once the cookie is created, we'll give here a link, right? And through link, when user is going to click, if user is valid, then user is going to click on the link, and in that case we will send user to some other servlet. Let us say that's a welcome servlet. Okay. So from welcome servlet, when we welcome the user, the name of the user we will read from the cookie. So we have to use get cookie method to read the values of all the cookies which are settled in the client machine. Okay. This is server program. So welcome servlet will read the cookies. Along with this, we'll give here user a logout link. Okay. So after creating a user, we can just log out, and in that case we will redirect user to next servlet, which is our logout servlet, fine. And what we will do in logout servlet, we'll again read the name of the user and we'll say bye bye to user. Okay. So this is the logout servlet. So if you look at the entire scenario, to implement a login form and perform state management using cookie, we required index.html. Username and password will be entered. Username, we will read it from the text box. If it is valid, we'll take that username value to be set as a cookie variable. So we'll create cookie in login check servlet. Once it is done, we'll send user to next resource, which is welcome servlet. Again, over here, we will read the variable which is set in the cookie, right? And if user wants to log out, user can click on the link log out, and we'll take user to logout servlet, where again we will read the value of cookie as well. We will delete the cookie. So here we are going to do both the things. We are going to read as well as delete the cookie. Fine. Is it clear? What is the scenario? Everyone, is it clear? So here create cookie, here read cookie, here read and delete both. Fine. And the code we have seen, this is read cookie, get cookie code, this is delete cookie code, and this is create cookie code. Fine. Is it clear? Is it clear how to solve this problem? Anyone having any doubt or question? Should I move forward? Kindly unmute yourself and tell me, should I move forward?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then let us check that program. Okay. So here you can see I have already created the application. I'll show you. Can you see this index.html? What we have is, we have form action login check servlet. Method is post. We're taking name and password. Name in text box txt nm. Password in the password box. Input type equal to password txt pwd. And in a submit button, which is labeled as login, we are sending this to login check servlet. Fine. In a login check servlet, we are checking user's validity, that if username is your name and if his password is your password, then user is valid. In that case, we need to read the text box value and password box value which is coming with user request. So what we will do is, we'll take a local variable string name. We'll say string name is equal to request.get parameter text box name, and string password is equal to request.get parameter txt password. We are checking if name dot equals Taru, that is my name, and password equals my surname. You are going to change for your name and your surname the condition. Then you are going to create a cookie. So we need to use cookie class. If I want to use cookie class, I need to import java x dot servlet dot http dot cookie, right? Because it is an API. Servlet API is having a class HTTP, and in that we have another class which is called cookie. It is having the child class cookie. So cookie is a child class of HTTP class. Now we have to create a cookie. So I created an object, cookie ck is equal to new cookie. I named that cookie as uname, and value which I am giving is the local variable n. And if you look at here, local variable n is holding the value of a text box. It is holding the value of a text box. So that text box value we are giving to the cookie variable. Okay. Now, what we will do then is, from login check, now check has happened, cookie variable has been created. So what we will do is, we will send user request. So see, we are sending the user request to the welcome servlet. So when you are sending it to welcome servlet, as you have added in the response the cookie, when you are forwarding the request and response object, this response is already containing this cookie object. It means that in welcome servlet, the variable uname is available through the object ck. Is it clear? Right? In the welcome servlet, as from the login check, you are forwarding request and response both the object. And in response, you have added the cookie object, which is holding the variable, cookie variable uname, which is representing your text box value. Right? So it will be available in the welcome servlet. Fine. So if password is right, we will take user to welcome servlet and we'll send the cookie object over there so we can read it. Right? In the, as you can see in the problem solution, we said we will read it. So we did login check and we created a cookie. Fine. And using the request dispatcher, we have moved to next resource. Fine. Okay. And then in welcome servlet, we will read it. Okay. Now, if password, username and password is wrong, right? In that case, we are going to use the request dispatcher. We'll give the error message output out.println invalid username or password, and we are going to give it to index.html using request dispatcher rd request.get request dispatcher. We are sending users request response object to index.html. They say rd.include, right? As we have used include, this message will be printed. Okay. Fine. Up till now, login check code is clear. How to create cookie, is it clear? Right? If you don't want to give this condition, then what you can do is you can create a database table, and here you can write 5 basic JDBC steps, and then you can connect to your database and you can check like a real application. Done? Is it clear? Should I move forward?
Yes.
Okay. Now let us check what is welcome servlet. In welcome servlet, now we added response.add cookie in login check. So it is available there. So with the help of get cookies, we can read it. So again, we need a cookie variable object. So we have to import. We have to import javax.http.cookie. And you can see the code. We are trying to read the cookies. Cookie can be read with the help of request.get cookies. Fine. So we are having an array because it returns multiple cookies. But right now in the code, we have set only one variable, as this is the simple system, localhost, only one client and one server. So you can read it through ck0.getValue. ck0, which is the first element, and first element is our cookie variable. So we are saying cookie variable, which is uname, and we are writing ck0 dot get value. So it will give you the value which is held by your uname variable, right? So uname is holding the text box name, whatever user has entered. So it will print here hello space cookie value. Okay. And then we give a new line br, and we are creating a login link. We said ahref equal to single quote logout servlet single quote over, click here to log out. So when user clicks here, user will be sent to the logout page. And now what we will do in the logout page is, we have to read the cookie, we'll say bye bye to user, and we will delete the cookie. We'll delete the cookie. So you can look at here the logout servlet code. You can see here the logout servlet code. We have read it, right? Read the cookie values to say bye bye to user. So we are saying cookie ck equal to request.get cookies out.println bye bye ck0.get value. Same code which we return in welcome servlet. Now I'm creating another variable to delete the cookie variable uname in client machine, because this we are getting from client machine. So we have to destroy that variable in the client machine only. So we said ck cookie ck1 equal to new cookie uname, right? Variable name is same. So even though the object name is different, but it is going to destroy this variable in client's machine. We say ck1.setMax is 0. Lifetime we made 0, uname value we made null here. And we are adding that empty cookie. We are saying response dot add cookie ck1, right? So that empty cookie will be added to client machine. And we are giving a message, you have logged out successfully, and given another message, click here to re-login, where we are giving the link of index.html. Is it clear? Anyone having any doubt or any query? Are you getting the code for deleting, reading, and creating the cookie? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubt, any query, anyone? Kindly acknowledge. So you can see here I have Taru, I'm writing the password launch, and I click on login, right? And you can see here it says hello Taru. This is from cookie. Get cookies ck0.get value. That value is Taru. We're given a logout link. So when I click here, it will take me to logout servlet, where we will read again. So here, bye bye Taru. This Taru is again a cookie variable, and we are giving a message you have successfully logged out. So now the variable has been set in my browser with 0 lifetime and null value after this print. So when I click here, I don't have cookies now in my machine. Fine. Any question, any doubt? Anyone? Look at the code. First, we are at index.html, this txt anim. We're taking to login check. Login check, we are reading the txt anim name and password. And that name we are setting as cookie variable, and we are adding into the response using request dispatcher. We are going to welcome servlet, and in welcome servlet again we read that value hello plus ck0.get value, right? And we created a logout. Again we are reading and adding the null cookie. Fine. Is it clear? Any doubt, any query? Anyone? Shh. Okay. There I say is clear. So let us move further and discuss about the second application. State management using HTTP session. So we'll do same thing. Okay. We are going to work upon the HTTP session, and for that we are going to do the same thing, but with a slight difference. What we'll have is we'll do login check, right? At the time of login check, we'll create an HTTP session object. HTTP session object. Okay. And then using request dispatcher, if user is valid, we will take user to welcome servlet. Now we have to read the session variable, right? So session variable can be read with the help of get attribute. Get attribute, right? Get attribute is the method to read the session related variables. And here, when you are creating a session object, right, you're going to set the attribute as a session variable, right? So whatever you have set here, we will read it in the welcome servlet. Now, along with this, when we are creating a logout link, what we have to do is this logout servlet, in logout servlet, to delete the session object, we are going to create an invalidate uh, method. We are going to call in the logout servlet. We have to delete the session variable, and to not make it available or to make it unavailable, we will in logout servlet will read the session variable to say bye bye, and then we'll call an invalidate method, session dot invalidate, right? And it will just delete the session object. Fine. Fine. So same thing, we required index.html, we required login check servlet, welcome servlet, and logout servlet. Fine. So let us quickly develop that. I have to develop from the scratch. So I'll go with the new project, Java web application. We'll create login, logout, right? And that is using HTTP. HTTP session. Fine. So we give next, next, and finish. Now we have index.html. Okay, so we can take this entirely, the same design. So we have index.html. We are taking a form, action is login check servlet. So we are going to make a servlet in default package, which is named as login check servlet. We'll give next, we'll add the information, and we'll click on finish. Now, how we create the session object? Here what we have to do is, you see what you did in a cookie. What you did in a cookie is this: you have read the variables, fine, and then you created an object of cookie. Now we are going to use the session variable. So instead of cookie, we are going to write the session variable. Okay, we need to add import for request dispatcher, and now we'll create HTTP session. We'll give an object name session is equal to request dot get session. What it will do is, it will create a session variable, session object. We can add import. We need javax.http session. So http session is an interface which we can use here. Now we can set the variable inside the session object. We need to write session dot set attribute. Fine. We are giving the name uname, which is my variable name, and we are giving local variable name, which is representing the text box. Now doing the same thing, we are taking request to the request dispatcher. Now in welcome servlet, I will read this variable. So how I will read this? I'll create again a new servlet, name it as welcome servlet, give next, add information, click on finish. You see what you did here was you read the cookies. We can read the cookies by get values method, and to read the session variable you required get attribute, right? So what we will do is, we'll create a session variable. So what we required is, we don't require cookies now. Instead, what we required is HTTP session. Again, we'll create a session variable. We'll say equal to request dot get session. But this time, we'll create a session with the false flag, because We want to use the same session object which we created in login servlet, right? Which we use in the login servlet. Let me import the message now. What we will say is, we'll say directly here session dot get attribute. Which attribute you want to get? You want to get uname. Fine. You want to get uname. Is it clear? Right. Now what we will do is we'll create a logout servlet. We'll give next, add the information and click on finish. Right. Now in the logout servlet, we'll again read the variable and we will say session.invalidate. So how to read is? How to read is? Anyone? How to read is? HTTP session, will say session equal to request dot get session, right? Add import and we'll say session dot get attribute. Okay, and to invalidate the session, what we have to do is we have to, okay, over here again we'll use the false because we want to use the session created in the previous you can say previous code, right? So here we'll write session dot invalidate and it will just delete the session variable. Fine. Is it clear? Any doubt, any question? Are you getting why we wrote false? Because in login check we created a session variable. Okay, and this same session variable we want to use. So this was first time in login check, session object was created for the first time. When you are at welcome servlet, you want to use the same session variable to read the value of uname, right? Similar way in logout also you want to use the same variable, and that's why you are creating in logout and welcome servlet the session object with the false flag. False means use the previous one. Okay. Any doubt, any query, anyone? Any doubt, any query up till now? Is it clear? So you can see I created a, and this is coming from the session variable get attribute. And when I say click to log out, this is also coming from session attribute. And now session.invalidate, so it has deleted. Okay, and if I click here, it is going back. Fine. If I have used the invalidate method, I'll not be able to use the variables again. For example, suppose invalidate, instead of here, if I'm writing here, before using it in a bye-bye, the session object, I deleted here. Okay, so if I run it again, you see in the bye-bye, we have used the session object, but before that we have deleted it. Fine, so we need to check what happens. It will make your system not to use any code which is related to session. So if I say Taru This is coming from session get attribute. You see, nothing is coming. Why? Because if you look at the code which is here, it is related to session and we destroyed this variable, right? So after using the session object, if you are deleting it, it's fine. It's fine. Till this bye statement, the session object is available. Session object is available in this line. That's why this will run. But when I'm deleting it, it will not be available. So any code related to session will not be printed as an output. So that's the beauty of HTTP session object. Now I have again taken it down. Can you see this? It's coming now. Fine. Is it clear, everybody? Yes or no? Okay. And we are moving to the last portion of the practical, which is URL rewriting. Now, what is URL rewriting? What is URL rewriting? We can pass the variable in the URL, right? So let us create same project because it is same definition. We have to implement the login application. So creating a new application, Java web application. Using URL rewriting. We are giving next, next and finish. Again, I'll need index.html. Again, I'll create login check. Up till login check, the code is same. Okay, now I don't want this. Instead, what we will do is we'll write the URL rewriting. URL rewriting is about writing the URL again. So we'll write out dot print ln. Okay, we'll say first we'll say welcome and we'll print the name, right? And now we are writing the URL. So we are saying print ln. We are taking us to new line, creating a href, new hyperlink you are creating. In a single quote, you'll write the servlet name. What is the servlet name? Welcome servlet, right? So here write welcome servlet. You'll say question mark, right? And you say you name. You are creating a variable equal to. What is the value? What is the value? Right? So you are embedding the name plus you're again closing it, We created a hyperlink. Are you getting the code? What we did is we are forming an URL. So uname, which we were creating with the help of session and cookie variable. Instead, now we are writing it as a name and value pair inside your URL. Okay? We are writing it as a name and value pair inside your URL. Fine? Right? Getting? Getting everyone? Yes or no? Okay, so we don't require request dispatcher because we have created the hyperlink. Right? Request dispatcher or hyperlink is used to go from one page to another page. So right now we are going to welcome Servlet using Ahref, using the hyperlink. Okay. Now we are going further and creating the welcome Servlet. And you see, up till now, what we did was we created a, a code where we have read the variable, which was either through HTTP session or through the cookie variable. But now the variable is available inside your request parameter. So what we will do is we'll not take any object. Instead, we can directly write request.get parameter. Fine. So we'll write request dot get parameter and in double quote specify the name. Okay. Again creating the logout servlet. And here we have not passed the variable. Okay. So when you say out.println, directly you can give the message. Okay, directly giving logout message, and we can create a link to go to the re-login. Okay. As we have not passed the request variable from the welcome servlet, you see, we have just created a logout link. So it is in request scope, so this variable will not be available further, right? If I'm trying to print this in the next page, it won't work. It will not give me the value because I have not passed it. Okay. You can see this is welcome Taru. Now here I click for logout. Oh, I haven't written the value. Login check. Welcome servlet. I wrote the value, right? Uname equal to. It has not taken the value. Login check. Oh, I need to close this not here but here. Fine. Now it will work. So I did the quote at the wrong place, and that's why URL was not formed properly. Can you see this? This is coming from this URL. Uname is equal to tar. Okay, look at here at the URL. Welcome servlet question mark uname equal to taru. So this taru is coming from there. Whereas here this is coming from the text box. Here it is there. When I'm writing blog, when I click on the login button, it is taking us to login servlet. In that case, as this is in forms submit, using request.get parameter, we are getting here. Now I'm forming a link for welcome servlet. When I'm forming a link, I'm giving this value as a query parameter. So it is coming like this. Okay, so this is again from request.get parameter, which is uname coming in the URL. So when I click on the logout, I have not passed that variable next. And that's why you see it is saying null. It means you have successfully logged out. Fine? Clear? Do you want to see the code? You can check. This is login check servlet. This entire thing, name and value pair, I have to give in a single quote. What I did is I closed the single quote here in after equal sign. So it was not giving me the variable name. So I remove it. After value, I have to close the single quote. Okay. And then I form a URL. Else part is the error message for login, relogin. And here we are reading it with the help of requested get parameter and a logout link. Right? So as we are not passing it in this hello, it will give us null. Fine. Is it clear? Any doubt? Any query? Anyone? So that's it for today from my end. If you have any technical query, you can ask. Or we can do one more thing. As we have still time, we can discuss a bit about the next practical and that you can do by your own. Okay. Up till now, anyone having any doubt or query? Udairaj and other students, those who are doing the programming in the lab only. Having any question, any doubt? Kindly unmute yourself and tell me. Devansh,
No, ma'am.
Sakshi, are you getting what is going on? Yes or no? Okay, I got so many yes in the chat. I have made one Servlet JDBC, my web app, or what was it? My JDBC. I forgot the program name. Just a second. Not this one. Anyways, let us discuss a bit about what it says. Read the practical. See, practical 4 we completed. Login application using cookie, HTTP session, and URL rewriting. Now, practical 5 says create a servlet file that contains following functions: connect, create database, create table, insert record in respective table, update the record, right, and delete the record from a table. Okay, so now to do this all, what we can do is we can go with the new project Java web application, give next, given name servlet JDBC. Okay, we are giving next and we are giving finish. Now in index.html, I can make the options available. So let me go with, I'm saying a href is equal to select all. So I'm saying that display all students, right? I'll say /e. Now what this will do, this will take me to the select all servlet. Fine. So I'll make one servlet which is named as a select all. It is a select all servlet. Fine. I'm giving next, add information and click on finish. Right. Select all servlet. Now in this select all servlet, I need to write 5 JDBC steps to get the records. Fine. So we can go here and we can write student details, and what we will do is we'll write 5 steps here. What are the 5 JDBC steps? What are the 5 JDBC steps? Anyone? What are the 5 JDBC steps?
Register driver.
Sorry?
Register the driver.
Register the driver, class.4name, right? You can look at here. We have class.4name connection we will make. Okay? And then we'll create the statement object. Fine? So we need to do all those 5 steps here. Okay? It is asking me the import. As well, I need to add in the library. I'll add the library MySQL driver as I'm going to connect it with MySQL. Fine? Fine? We'll put it in a try and a catch block. Okay. Now we're putting it in a try catch block. Step number 1, register the driver. So we say the class.4name. Step number 2, make the connection. I am connecting my application with the MU database. Okay. Now what is step number 3? Step number 3 is to create the statement. Right. So I'll say statement stmt is equal to connection dot create statement. Fine. Okay. Next what I will do is I have to include add import statement, spelling is wrong, statement. Okay. Make sure that you are writing the correct import. Now I'll say result set rs is equal to statement dot execute query, as it is the select query. I'll say select star from students, right? This is my table. Now what I have to do is I will import. Now I will take a while loop. But before while loop, I need to display the data in a web page. And we know that web page displays the data in a well-structured format if we are taking a table. So we'll take a table, right? We'll say width is equal to, you can write 80%, right? You can give alignment, right, is equal to, you can give center, right? And now inside, I'll close this table. Out dot println will close the table slash table. Now we know that table will have the rows. So I'll say out dot print ln. I'll write the first row tr. In that I'll write first column. My first column, I'm giving the name student ID, right? Which is, or you can say SID. Let us write it in a short. I say /td, right? And then you can go with the another column. What is the second column? We have out dot print ln. We're writing in double quote td /td. We're writing student name, so we'll say s name, right? This is just a label, so you can write entire also, like name or whatever you want to write. And we have out dot. Let me check my table. I have XAMPP. I'll open it. Start. I'll go to the admin panel. I have a database named as MU, and in that I have students table. So MU, in that students table, having SID, SNAME, S department, and result, right? So I'll say department, I'll say result, and I'm closing this row, first row /tr. Okay, right? This is, I started here, first tr. Now table is closing here, but we don't know how many times the in between we have to execute. So we're writing while. We're writing while rs dot next, right? We're writing while rs dot next. And what you are saying, what you are doing is you are writing out dot print ln. You are writing first tr, right? And you are writing in that out dot print ln. You're writing your first td. And what is the value? What is the value of your first td? You are saying rs dot get int, right? Which is your first column. Yes or no? Similar way, you have 4 columns. So you can write all those columns. You can say rs dot set string for s name, s department, and result. Right? You can write a string s department, and you can write rs dot double, because my result I have mentioned in double, right? Which is my 4th column. So either I can go with this index or I can write the column name. Now my TDs are over. I have to close the row. So this will run as many time as I have the rows. So this is coming the dynamically, right? Close the TR and close the table. Fine. Is it clear, guys? And finally what I have to do is I have to say connection dot close. Yes or no? Step number 1, load the driver, class.4name. Step number 2, make the connection, driver manager.get connection. Step number 3, create the statement, right? And step number 4, to execute the query, right? And finally, Whatever is there in the result set, we are displaying it in a table of HTML. And finally, step number 5, close the connection. Clear? Any doubt, any question? Can you see this? I have so many records, right? I can take this as an align center. Table is already centered, right? Can you see this? I can apply the CSS. And right now I can do the simple thing. I can make border equal to 1, right? And we can go with this title. We'll say align equal to center. Can you see this? This is coming from database. Fine? Clear? Yes or no? You can do various things from this. Can anyone guide me? Look at the problem definition. It says delete the table, delete the records. Let us suppose that I want to implement the delete record. Can you tell me the probable design? What should I do? Delete record. I have this many records. And if I want to delete it from here, what I will do? What I will do? Anyway, this is my home page. What I will do? Can you guide me? Can you guide me? What I will do?
We'll create a link.
Sorry?
We'll create a link.
We'll create the link. Where we will create the link?
Near the record,
Sorry?
near every record.
Here in index.html, right? Okay, then what we will do? Which link I have to create? Which record I want to delete? I need to ask user, right? So I need to take the input. I'll say a href equal to, I'll say get sid.html. Fine. And I'll say delete student. Right? I'll create an HTML form. So HTML forms goes in the web page. So I need to select web and I'll go with the option HTML. I'll give the name get sid. I give finish and I'll take a form. Then action is equal to delete servlet, right? Method I can mention as get so that I can see the object, I mean SID values, right? I'll close the form. I'll ask user I'll take it in a text box. Input type equal to text. I'll say name equal to SID, txt SID, the value which is there in the text box, txt SID. Okay, I'll take a BR, new line, I'll take a submit button. Input type equal to submit. I'll say value equal to delete student, right? And now what I'll do is I'll create a delete servlet. How to use the delete servlet code? Like what would be the code? Can anyone tell me? What code I should write? This is my delete student. What code should I write in delete servlet? Tell me the business logic. What is the first thing that we have to do? Anyone? Integer SID is equal to, I'll parse it, integer dot parse int. What I have to parse is request dot get parameter. Whatever is in txt sid, I am converting it into integer. Next, what I will do? Now I have integer sid with me. I have to write the SQL query, which is like delete from student, right? How to implement it? Which type of statement you will require? Which type of statement you will require? Anyone? Which type of statement is required? Guys, are you getting my question or not? Are you getting my question? સમજાય છે શું કહું છું તે? Yes or no, so that I can have the idea whether you are getting what is going on or not. Yeah, what we are doing is, we got in a text box the student ID. Now we have to perform the 5 steps. Okay, now we are performing the 5 steps, and we are using the try and catch block to execute the JDBC statements. Fine. And now I have to use which type of statements? Prepared statement or callable statement or simple statement? What I will use? Is your query static?
We have to use prepared statement.
જોરથી બોલો, નથી સંભળાતું.
Prepared statement.
Prepared statement. Why we will use prepared statement?
Dynamic query.
Because we are taking the query's value from the user. So we'll use prepared statement. Prepared statement we are going to use. Right? Yes or no? So we have to import it. Now what we will write is prepared statement is equal to connection dot prepare statement. And here we'll write the SQL query. We'll say delete from students where SID equal to question mark. Now what is this question mark? Question mark we have to set. So we'll say PS dot set int. What do you want to set? The first question mark as SID. Once it is done, as this is the delete query, we'll have something in the result as an integer value. We'll say PS dot execute update. Fine. It will execute the query. We'll say if delete underscore result is greater than 0, right? Greater than 0 means record has been deleted, right? Then what we will do is, we'll write out dot println. We'll say record deleted successfully, right? And we will display users all the records. So we'll say request dispatcher create RD is equal to request dot get request dispatcher. Right, and where we want to send it, select all. Right, this is like after deletion, so we'll say rd dot include. Okay, else what will say, problem in delete, and in that case we will send to re-enter. Right, in that case we'll take it to get sid.html along with the error message. So both the places will use the include method. Okay, let us try to execute. You can see we have SID 3, 1, 2, 3, 14. Let us try to delete 14. Delete students. We said 14. Click. It says record deleted successfully. Can you see 14 is deleted? That. Are you seeing that? Right? Suppose I want to delete 4 which is not there. Okay. So if I enter 4 and I click on delete, what it says? Problem and delete, re-enter the ID. Fine, because record is not there, so it is not deleted. Is it clear, everyone? So this is display all students. Fine. So that's what you can do, everyone. That's what I expected from you. I want you people to work upon this functionality on your project work. Whatever is your project title, you have to implement your practical number 5 as your internal project. So next time you will come with the screens of your project work. Minor project with 5 dynamic screens, right? So select all and delete. These are the 2 pages which we have already coded. And 3 more. That's it. Now you know everything. You can go with the login. You can go with the select all. You can go with delete, update and everything. Fine. Is it clear, everyone? Should I stop here? What we discussed today was how to create login form using the state management, cookie, HTTP session and URL rewriting. And along with that, we learn how to apply the JDBC with the Servlet. And for that, we have seen how to select all the record, table of the content, right? How to retrieve it. And we learn how to delete a record from a table. Rest of the things are easy because I have shown you the flow. So practical 5 I am giving to you to be implemented as in your internal project. Fine. Is it clear? Any question, any doubt? Now we are left over with only one program, error handling, which we'll see in the next session. Is it clear? Should I stop here? Next session, you can ask me the queries related to flow of your project because your practical 5 is that work. As well, you have to implement practical 4 entirely. Practical 4 entirely in your system. Next time, I'll be discussing the error handling as well. I'll be discussing the 5 and 6 which were left over in the previous practical list. And then we will be done with 3 practicals fully. Unit set 1, 2 and 3. Practical set 1, 2 and 3. Any technical queries in today's session? Yes or no? This is important from your mid-semester point of view also. Any query, any doubt? Yes or no? Can you acknowledge?
No, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Then I suggest I'll stop recording now, but I'm here. You can start implementation. And if you have any technical query, you can ask me the question now. Start with the session management program.